Awakening with Brahma Kumaris.
Om Shanti and a very warm welcome to Awakening with Brahma Kumaris. When we started this journey, we were a little uncomfortable about what was happening around, what was happening with me, within me. But now, gradually, everything is settling down. I am happy. I've understood in reality who I am. And then the connection with God makes me feel really empowered. And there is serenity around me. The relationship with my dear ones, with my near ones, is becoming much, much better. And time now to move out from I, me, myself. And the moment I look out at the world, I'm afraid. Whatever is happening, it doesn't gel with what I thought the world to be. There is so much of violence. Everything is going haywire. There is chaos. And now I'm afraid. Is this fear genuine? Should I be afraid? Or can I do something to change this scenario? There are many more questions. And as always, it's a privilege to have with us, to take us through this journey, Brahma Kumari Sister Jayanti, who is a European Director of Brahma Kumaris and also the NGO representative at United Nations in Geneva.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, and a very warm welcome. Sister Jayanti, we're really, really thankful to you, all of us who've felt the power of connection, of understanding. We feel empowered. We are at peace. There is a lot of serenity. I'm comfortable. But the moment I look out, because now I am full, I am comfortable. The moment I look out, there is chaos. I'm afraid. Because I don't know what to do, how to deal with it, because it's a new world. Earlier, I was part of that world only. But now you've made us understand that who am I? And when I understand the true self of who am I, there's too much of violence, too much of negativity, too much of those things which look bad to me. What should I do?
There's a very interesting statement that comes, and they say that rather than curse the darkness, let me light a candle. And so that's what I can do. I can start doing something which is positive and constructive to remove the things that are causing the fear in terms of what's going on in the world. And so what I have to do is to sort things out within myself and send out those good vibrations. But also, I have to examine, why is it that I'm feeling afraid? Because fear of the situation of the world is one aspect, but there seem to be many, many factors that make us afraid today. And the things around us in the world are a direct result of whatever it is human beings are doing. There's nothing that's happening out there that hasn't been directly caused by human beings. We used to think that the state of the environment or nature was a result of a divine act, but not true. We now understand how we've been cutting down the trees, and so we've been causing the landslides, we've been causing the floods and everything. If I look at what's going on in the world around me, then there's one very simple thing that I can understand, and that is that all of this has been caused by human beings. It's not God that's making these things happen. It's not some unknown force or energy, but it's not even the government that's always making things happen. It's human beings. Even the government is human beings. And so it comes to the fact that there's something that human beings are doing that's making all of this state of chaos happen. And so is it possible for human beings now to do something creative, constructive, that's actually going to bring order and stability? And I believe that human beings on their own can't do it, but with God's help we can do it. And so when I look at the world, that doesn't cause me fear, because I know that beyond this chaos and darkness, there is light further ahead. But I think there's another aspect of fear, and that's all the things that are going on within the self. For example, there's fear of my own weaknesses. There's fear of the mistakes I've done in the past and what are going to be the repercussions of those mistakes. There's fear of what other people might do to me. And so all of these fears are much more subtle. But these are the things that really causes a great deal of anxiety and take away our peace of mind. And when I'm afraid, then in that confusion, I cannot think clearly. I cannot make the right decisions. Sometimes a situation comes and it's not such a difficult one to handle, but if I get afraid, then my head's not working clearly. Then the things that I do actually create further complications and a further mess. Rather than being able to clean up a mess, a further mess is created. And so it's very important to see, where does this fear come from and how can I deal with it? And my own feeling has been that through the practice of meditation, one learns an inner sense of stability and security. My own weaknesses, yes, I'll acknowledge them, but I'll say, God, you tell me how to deal with this. You help me now. I can't deal with this on my own, but I know that with your help, I'll be able to manage. And so I know that if I'm willing to have that honesty and take help from God, then with that support and strength, I'll be able to make a change.
But will I really get answers? In the real sense, that if I tell him, because I have a lot of weaknesses, I understand that. If I take his help, in the real sense, I ask you a question, you're able to answer me. I ask your help, you're able to give me an answer or tell me how to deal with the situation. That's a real answer I get. Can I get something like this from him?
What you'll find is that there's something you're reading and the answer will come to you from that. Or you're having a conversation with somebody and the answer will come to you from that. And so there's all these external ways in which it's like the universe is sending me a message, it's giving me an answer. But also, of course, as I connect my mind to God, then I'm going to be able to receive something that couldn't have come from my own experience or my own understanding or even my own logic and reason, but it's something that I can feel has come from up above, from beyond. And then I should just check it out with others to make sure that it's not crazy and it's not my mind going wild. But yes, you do get answers, whether from up above or through an instrument that he's found to help me on my way.
That's great. In fact, because there are a lot of questions, there are a lot of fears which one needs to, a lot of weaknesses which one wants to, actually, they should go away from you.
I think that having seen those, I also have to remember that my original state is that state of purity. And so if this is my goal today, one of the beautiful things about human beings is that once you're motivated and you want to do something, nobody can shift you from it.
Yeah, that's true.
And so if today what I want is to be able to transform myself, and this is deep in my heart, then I'm going to be able to achieve it. If I have this question, will I not, I'm going to try, then forget it. You might as well sit down, don't bother. Because if I say I'm going to try, then already there's a sign of defeat that's come in. But if I have that hope that yes, this is what I can do, if I have that faith and courage and I make sincere effort, honest effort, perfection is the next step for human beings to reach. If I think about God as being my parent, and I think about God as being the perfect being, then how can I be any less? And so the fear of not being able to transform goes away when I think of who the Creator is and the fact that we are His creation. They say that the Creator is seen through His creation, that the creation is a reflection of the Creator. And so this is who I am. And so no need to have fear about my own weaknesses. Then there's a question of fear of what others can do to me. If I'm holding God's hand, and God doesn't have a physical hand to hold on to. But to hold God's hand means to be following His directions, the hand of Srimad, the divine instructions of God. And if I'm following God's instructions for me, step by step as I move along, what shadow is it that can come for my journey or in my life? And so really I'll be able to walk through the most difficult patches in my life, but I'll be able to do that with confidence because I know that the Almighty is with me. The way that I know that the Almighty is with me is through my obedience. If I've moved away from the path of God's instructions, yes, then there's a question, what's going to happen? I wonder what the outcome of this will be. But if I've been holding God's hand and moving along that path with faith, then the result of that faith is that I'm fearless. Nothing can happen to me. That canopy of protection is going to be over me and with me all the time.
Here, I want to ask you a small question that if, while moving on this path, because understanding, that's the right path, if I get into NLA, and I want to come back, am I allowed?
God is the ocean of love. And so there's never a time that God shuts the door and says, you're not allowed. But it's like if you're on a highway and you've taken a wrong turn, then you come back, but you wasted a little bit of time, or maybe a lot of time. And so God is never going to say the door is shut. God is always going to say the door is open, come. But I need to make sure that I stay on track, otherwise I lose a lot of time. But also, the sorrow I gain from doing that is again something which burdens me, and I don't want that to happen. I want to stay on track so that then I'm able to move ahead fast without any struggles.
Wonderful, Sister Jayanti. But I want to ask you one question, I think, which a lot of people have. This question is like, if He is the ocean of love, He's that supreme being, supreme soul, He's my Father, then how is it that He has let me suffer so much? Is He who has punished me? Why I am suffering so much? Why there has been so much pain? I've been calling for Him, Why He has given me, when we say that everything, whatever is happening to me today is because, okay, whatever I've done, but still, why? Why couldn't He actually, why did He let me go through so much? This is one question which, a lot of us have.
So much of whatever it is I've been through, if I look back on it today, it's actually been a teaching process that's been happening. And I've been learning from all of those things. And so if there was just calmness and happiness and joy, why would I need God? But my own karma, my own actions have brought me grief. And in that grief, I've been learning. But one of the things that's now happening is that I'm open to be able to receive God into my life. You remember that little game that we did of drawing on the sheet of paper where I stand in relationship with others and with God? And we said that for most of us, God is not even on the board, not even on the sheet.
We don't have any relationship. We never had.
And so it's like we consciously cut God out of our life. God is there. God is always available. God never forgets, but we forgot. And so now that we've come to a point where we're ready to receive God into our lives, He's accepting it. He's not saying, why didn't you call me earlier? Or why weren't you ready for me earlier? He's not complaining. The mother will say, okay, you come back now, it's fine. And my mother will accept me as I am without any further questions or delay.
But what I want to ask, a lot of people have this question, is that because we were not introduced, we've been calling Him. It's not that, in our own, whichever way we could, wherever everybody took us, wherever those, I don't want to take the names, but the spiritual leaders took us, wherever the scriptures took us, we went. We kept on looking for Him because we were suffering. We didn't know what to do. But today when you, in this whole process, you introduced, it made sense. and I could make a relationship. But I was calling for him.
I'm absolutely sure that it has to be a moment when I'm ready. And maybe I need to experiment with this way, that way, and the other way, just to test them out and check them out. Otherwise, if I were to come straight onto here, I'd say, maybe there's something there, maybe there's something there, and I'd still be distracted. But I've been through all of that, and with the richness of that experience, I say, now I understand this is where I should be. And so I move ahead. And I do so without fear, knowing that I have now chosen a path that I feel comfortable with, a path that I resonate with inside.
But somewhere still I'm afraid that will I lose this connection, now? Because now I found him. Somebody at one point in this journey told me that, whenever there's going to be a situation which is going to be a very difficult situation, this whole concept of soul awareness and everything will go away, and then you will be, again, the journey will start. So that fear is there with a lot of people, that now if I found him, I'm finding it really comfortable, I'm happy, I'm enjoying it. Will this go away from me? I don't want to let it go.
If somebody tells you there might be a fire in your house, am I going to just say, let me live in fear that there might be a fire? What I'm going to do is to make sure that I have all the defenses in place, so that there's a fire extinguisher, there's a fire alarm, and so I take precautions that something which is not very pleasant should not happen. Yes, it may happen, but I can take precautions to avoid it happening. Same thing in terms of my life. I feel very fortunate today, but there's always the possibility that something may happen and I might fall away. So the precautions that I can set in place are to have my regular study of spiritual knowledge, to have meditation on a daily basis, to follow a type of lifestyle in which my food and my drink and the things that I consume are sattvic, are pure, and so they're not going to be a disturbance. And further, I can make sure that my behavior and the virtues that I imbibe are the things that God wants me to do. We describe these as the 4 subjects: the knowledge, the meditation, the inculcation, the practical life, all of these things. So these are the pillars on which my lifestyle is now to be based. And if the pillars are strong, I'm protected, I'm safe, nothing's going to go wrong. So I don't need to hang on to that anxiety or fear anymore.
Yeah, wonderful.
Think about it. If there's a parent who wants to explain something to his child, he's going to find the easiest way possible to explain it, even if it's complicated. But he'll make it easy for the child because he wants the child to understand. And the quality of a teacher can be understood whether the teacher is able to explain the lesson to the student in a way that makes sense to the student. If the teacher is making it very complicated, not a good teacher.
Yeah.
And so when I think about the Supreme Parent, Baba wants to make life easy for me.
One of the viewers called up and said that I understand everything. I've lived all my life with, to the hilt. And I've been a God-fearing God, I've really tried to live a life, whatever God said. But then, now I am old. I'm afraid, I'm saving every penny because I don't know who's going to take care of me. So that's a major fear. And I said, that's bad because you have to live your life in fear, Whatever life is left, you're living in fear, actually. The death will come earlier, maybe.
Exactly, you're invoking.
Yeah.
But if this person were to just smile and say a few kind words to every person who visited him, then people would say, we want to come back and visit. And it would grow, it would get further and further, and there'd be many others around him to help him. I know that this is so, some people are sick and they drain people's energy. Other people are sick, but they're still serving and uplifting others. I've seen those sorts of stories. And so my suggestion to this person would be, just start giving. nothing physical, but just start giving a smile, give a few words of encouragement to the children down the road, to the people across the road, whoever it is you're in contact with, to the postman who comes to visit you, to the woman who comes to sell the vegetables, whoever it is. Just share something of beauty with them, something of God's love, and you don't need to be afraid of what's going to happen.
No, in fact, wonderful. I could actually talk about it. It's like this person said that because nobody is bothering, not this person never had any child, but other relatives. So even if I'm saving every penny, each penny now, why should I leave this money for people who have not bothered about me? And then I'm so afraid, I don't know what will happen tomorrow. So that is the biggest question, actually. The insecurity of what's going to happen. That we're all insecure. What if this happens? What if this happens?
My future is created by my present. My thoughts today create the future. And so if I'm aware of this and I have very elevated, noble thoughts filled with love for others, then my future is going to be a blessed one. My words today of encouragement and inspiration to others, and in future they'll be there to help me and support me. My actions today based on generosity and kindness and truth, and there'll be a lot of cooperation I receive in the future. I would say to this old man, okay, if your relatives aren't expressing their love for you, their children are around. Call their children, give them a big party, let them enjoy. Let them enjoy your money while you're alive, rather than do something with it after you're gone. Call them, share it with them, be generous to them, help them with their education. There must be 1,000 different ways in which you can do good deeds. And so whilst I'm alive, let me do good things. I know that my future is then assured, guaranteed. And so I don't need to fear old age. I don't need to fear illness. And definitely, there is no such thing as the death of the soul. Yes, the body comes to an end, but the soul is eternal. And the more I'm stable in this awareness of the soul, then the relationship with the body is a very different one. This is my precious instrument, and I'll use it to do good things, but I'm not in bondage to it. I can step away from it lightly. When it's finished the service it's got to do, that has come to an end, it's not a bondage for me. I'll be able to leave very easily, without any struggle, without any difficulty or pain. I'll just leave. And I, the soul, will return home to God. And so I don't need to be afraid of any of these things.
Yeah, in fact, the God with whom we are trying to create a relationship, once we're not there in this body, the connection is going to become much more stronger because we'll go back to Him.
I think that if my connection is strong with Him now, I'll feel the love with which He takes me back home.
Yeah, that's again very true. And then, the purpose for which I've come here will also be fulfilled, with awareness. Wonderful, Sister Jayanti. And as always, we have been meditating, we all have been trying, and the relationship is becoming gradually, with awareness, much more stronger. But then your inputs, your taking us to that trip actually helps a lot. So can I request you once more?
I go inwards, aware of the eternal being that I am. I connect with the divine. And through this connection of yoga, of my feelings, of my heart with the divine, from the ocean of love, love pours out and fills the soul. And as I feel God's love empowering me, I'm filled with strength. I know I have God as my protector. I have God as my guide. The might of the Almighty is with me. I don't need to be afraid of anyone or anything. God's love cleans out the feelings in my heart so that any sense of insecurity is removed. The power of love makes me stable and calm. I keep the power of the Almighty so that no fears may come. I keep the wisdom of the Supreme so that no ignorance may create fear. And with His light and might, I begin to play my role on the world stage again, but this time with no fear, no animosity. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Yes, there's no fear anymore. You know, the biggest fear is fear of death, letting go of this body. But then, with the understanding that I'll come back, or I might go to the Supreme Soul, my Father, that makes me comfortable. Thank you, Sister Jayanti, for all the, input and insights you've given us. Om Shanti. Fear of death is the biggest fear we all face. But then once we realize it, who we are, actually we never die, the soul never dies, it becomes easier to accept. And then all fears vanishes. But then there might be many more questions in your mind. You're always welcome. You can call us up or you can mail your questions.
If you wish to discuss your problem or have a question to ask or want to know your nearest Rajyoga meditation center, call us on 099 99 744 555.
Life goes on, but then if we live with awareness, it becomes easier to live and much more comfortable. Awakening with Brahma Kumaris will be back with many more answers to all the questions we have in our minds about life, about myself. Till then, have a wonderful life. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.